Joining us here today, where we will be and are making the big announcement of the show at the O2 Arena on July the 13th, and also plans for the future for Joyce. Ringstar and Richard Schaefer involved as well in the promotion, and Joe, well, there was talk of him fighting Daniel Dubois, but instead he's going to be going a different direction, at least for the time being. And first, though, that big fight against Alexander Ustinov in Stevenage on the 15th. Frank Warren.
Good afternoon, ladies and gentlemen. Thanks for joining us. Yes, first of all, Joe's got that fight on the 18th of May at Stevenage, where he's the main support to Billy Joe Saunders' WBO World Championship fight. He's got to fight Ustinov first, and that's what he's focused on. I'm sure, I'm not speaking for him, I'm quite sure that'd be the position. And he's got to get through that fight. If he comes through that fight okay, he will then fight on the same show on the 13th of July at the O2 as the British heavyweight title fight, which we'll talk about in a moment. What happened was the British Boxing Board of Control put out the fight between Joe and Daniel. Having spoken with Sam and the team and Adam Morley and Ricky, it was decided by them that, and I can absolutely see where they're coming from, that they were looking at the position they were in and the opportunity they had in the moment, which is to fight Ajit Cabello for the European title. He's Joey's number one challenger to him. We have been in discussions with him, and if we can't agree terms, I'm quite sure they'll go to purse bid. And he's also the number one challenger to the WBA, one of the WBA champions, Manuel Char, who's got a fight quite soon, and the winner of that has also been ordered to defend against Joe. So that was his decision. He will fight, provided he comes against Ustinov, a world-ranked fighter, on the 13th of July, as I said. So we're delighted here. He's with us. We're delighted that we're working with Richard Schaefer and Ringstar in promoting him in the future.
Cabello, undefeated in 19 fights, German-based, and a dangerous man.
He is. He's had 19 fights and knocked out 13 of his opponents. It's a tough fight. You've got to remember with Joe, he's only had 8 fights as a pro. He's obviously got a distinguished amateur record, fought in World Amateur Championships, Commonwealth Games, and obviously won the silver medal in the Olympic Games. So, but that still doesn't give you the experience you need at heavyweight. So he's, with those 8 fights, he's done brilliantly. He's fought some decent guys and come through the fights. And I'm using his words. He says he's 33 years of age. He's not looking to hang around. He just wants to get into the big fights as soon as possible. And you have to admire him for that. That's what he wants, and that's what he intends to do.
Before we hear from Joe, let's hear from Sam Jones, who's his manager. And you've taken the decision to look towards the WBA regular title, as Frank says, and also the European title. Just sort of put us through the thought processes and the talks that you've had to lead you to the decision to take that route.
Well, I think the fight with Daniel or Nathan is always going to be there for Joe. But right now, Joe would lose his mandatory slot with the European if he took the fight with Daniel. And he's mandatory for Manuel Char's WBA regular title. So that's the route we want to go down. We want to fight Ajit Cabello, Manuel Char, or even Derek Chisora. I know he's looking for an opponent. That's the route we want to go down.
What about being based back here at home, Joe? How are you enjoying going through the preparations? I hear you've got a new flat and you're enjoying settling down back here in the London area.
Oh yeah, it's really great to be back. You know, I'm settled. I've got a flat which is like 15 minutes from the gym. It's near Adam Booth, where we do our second session in his house, and the treadmill and stuff like that. They got the Versa and that. So you know, it's really great to be part of a vibrant gym and a really great team, and you know, really like working on some new things. So hopefully I'll be a lot more agile and quicker for this fight against Ustinov.
Yeah, what's your thoughts on that fight? Because one thing you can say about him is that he's getting on now, but he's heavy-handed and he's durable to say the least.
Oh,
Tough guy.
He's a big old boy, so I'm going to have to, he's got very good experience and he's a big, powerful heavyweight, so you have to be careful on my guard, and I'm sure he can take a lot of sticks, so I need to really put it on him.
You've got an opportunity to really make a statement. I know it's a kind of a boxing cliche, isn't it? But you can really make people sit up and take notice.
Well, yeah, that's what I've been doing since I started my career, because I, had to get a move on really, and strategically, my trajectory is up really steep. So, I'll have this fight, and then I've got a massive fight in July, which I'm preparing for. But obviously not overlooking Ustinov, because he's going to be a test. So
what's it going to mean to you to get out in front of British fight fans again, to be back here in Stevenage in the open air and on a big bill?
Oh, it's massive. To be on the undercard of Billy Joe is in Stevenage. It's going to be. I could just imagine like the crowd in that football stadium, and I look forward to it. I've only boxed in London, so it's quite nice to be to box around England. So it's good to be back.
And good, I would imagine. You look at the pictures that they've set up for us here in the studio with yourself, Daniel, and Nathan. I mean, it's.
I look a bit hairy.
You do actually. Good chest week. How exciting is it to be a part of a real buzzing British heavyweight scene?
Oh, it's massive. That that card in July is going to have 3 of us. So it's good. All the heavyweights seem to be from the UK these days. So and all the best ones. So it's taken over.
Frank, if the European title or the WBA title can't be reached immediately, there are other names who you could go looking for, I guess.
There are other possibilities, but it will be a world-ranked opponent. It won't be Charles, and I doubt if it'll be the European champion in that period of time. But the worst-case scenario will be a world-ranked opponent, somebody ranked in the top 10 or 15.
Can you throw a possible name at us, or is it too soon?
I could throw 10 or 15 names at you who are ranked in. Until it's signed, it don't mean nothing.
True. Joe, who would you fancy potentially? I mean, do you think that you're almost at the point where you're ready to step up against the really big boys?
Yeah, obviously the top 10, as Frank mentioned. I was hoping Caballero and Char or Chisora. There's plenty of names out there. Takan and
Chisora certainly. Derek's certainly spoken about the possibility of fighting you in the past.
Not for the money he wants.
Yeah.
There's 2 ways to fight people. 2 ways to get out of fights. One to say you don't want the fight, and the other one is to price yourself out of it.
And I guess that's what he's done.
He's done.
Yeah.
And what about these fellas sitting here now, Daniel and Nathan? What about maybe sharing a ring with them?
Well, yeah, we'll see how they get on, and I'll take the winner down the line. I mean, that option's always open. We're on the same network and that, so I'm sure it'll be easy to make.
Frank, your thoughts about that?
They will happen. I mean, we have no problem in making the fights what the fans want to see, and the fights that the boxers want, and we will do that. But first of all, Daniel and Nathan got a real tough fight on the 13th, and see how that pans out. But there's no doubt about it that the winner will be there. We're in a position now where these guys got to capitalise on what's happening in America. For the next couple of fights, at least, Tyson's going to be based there, and broadening his brand on ESPN Plus. Obviously, Anthony Joshua's out there, and he's fighting in June, and then you've got Deontay Wilder, who's obviously a Yank, and he's based there. So all those guys fight. Fights are shown in the UK at 4s, 5 o'clock in the morning. This is the next generation. These are the next guys who are coming through. These are the guys that in 12 months' time will be fighting one of these, or maybe 2 out of the 3 will be fighting. It's not the end of the world for a loser. you know, one of them will lose, but it's not the end of the world for them. But they're young, they can come again. They're obviously very good quality heavyweights, and I think they're the three best, not just in this country. I think they're the three best young heavyweights, or three best heavyweights in the world, the next level above world championship level, and they're not frightened of challenges. And you know, the people said to me, "How come you letting this fight take? Why are you letting those two guys fight?" Well, we'll explain that when they both get up here. But as I say, it's about delivering the fights. They want the fights, we deliver them, and it's about making the future fights. BT and Queensbury, myself, we're committed to bringing and making these big fights happen.
With the promotional tie-in with Top Rank, and of course the fact that you've been involved with the rebirth, if you like, of Tyson Fury,
Yeah.
how easy or otherwise would it be for one of these guys to, in theory, move on to fight Tyson, if not this year, maybe next year?
Well, Tyson's eventually going to come back here. He's going to come back in the UK. He's going to have fights in the UK. He's not left the UK. And when he comes back, there are some great domestic fights to be made. When he comes back with one of the belts, when he gets back and he's got the belt, they're great fights to make. Great fights to be made. These guys are coming through. They're fighting regularly, and as I say, they're the next generation. So we're working all towards these guys being in position where they challenge for the world title next year.
And that would be something you'd welcome, Joe?
Oh yes, definitely welcome a shot like that. I'm just working my way through, and yeah, there's some big fights out there, up the top.
Okay, well, the fights, of course, that we look forward to seeing. We're going to be hearing from the two lads who are going to be fighting for the British title on July the 13th. But before then, you'll have opportunities after we've finished everything to do one-on-ones with Joe and the other guys. But any questions from the floor for Joe or his manager, Sam? Anybody for anybody? Yeah.
How much did Chisora want for the fight?
7 figures.
7.
Yeah.
The
And
low
that's not pounds and pence. That's pounds.
A lot of money.
Sterling.
Which is unrealistic.
Yeah, exactly.
Anybody else? Yes.
Joe, who do you fancy fighting on July 13th?
Well, I'll have to leave it up to Frank and my management to sort that out. But who I would like, obviously Manuel Char for the WBO regular would be ideal. Or Caballero, the European.
Any thoughts on that one, Sam? Any assuming those two aren't available, where would
There's not a lot. There's not a lot of available right now. The heavyweights, you've got Rivas fighting Dylan White. I think Kaunaki's scheduled to fight Helenius.
Yeah.
I think Kaunaki's scheduled to fight Helenius. Ortiz has been promised the Wilder fight. Povetkin, yeah, that's a name Joe would fight. Joe's openly said he'd fight Povetkin. That's not a problem. You have to beat these guys if you're going to be a world champion. So why not?
Any more? Yes.
I don't know if Joe said who he thinks would win out of Daniel and Nathan in the same show.
Well, it's a 50-50 fight. I've seen them sparring on the GB team, and they're quite. It's a good matchup, and I look forward to it. It's going to be, explosive, and it'd be good to see who the number one is out of them two.
But you're not picking a winner.
I'm sitting on the fence here.
Got sore eyes. What did that rivalry used to be like when you saw them, working together in the GB setup? Were there some fiery moments?
Yeah, I think there's obviously massive rivalry. It's it's difficult when you're on the squad and there's someone your weight. I mean, either you're like kind of friends with them, but you're going to fight, or like they're kind of like a bit more of a rivalry and animosity. You can see. So
And could you see that between those two?
yeah, a little bit. Yeah, it's going to be tasty.
Any more, guys?
Good.
Right. Well, thank you very much. and we'll ask these lads to move on, and we will continue with our heavyweight title fight for the 13th of July.